As always, the Democratic establishment, who are owned by the corporations, the Republicans too, but right now I'm just talking about the Democrats. After a loss, they're coming with all the wrong takeaways, purposely trying to distract or cover the system that keeps the corporate agenda going, keeps the corporate Democrats in power, keep the same cycle of nothing will fundamentally change, keeps the same BS tricks of do nothing for the people unless it somehow can benefit their big donors and corporations first and foremost type politics. There's only 3 people to blame for Kamala Harris' loss to Donald Trump: Joe Manchin, Christian Sinema, and Joe Biden. Really the whole Democratic Party, but that's just the short answer. But let's get deeper and unpack it. Don't allow them to blame racism. Don't allow them to blame sexism. Don't allow them to blame third parties. Don't allow them to blame any voters. Don't allow them to even blame Trump, who I can't stand. Because in 2020, when you have historical gains flip red states that have been red for a long time, have the Senate and the House, and not deliver on any of the major policies you campaigned on? None? Come on now. Okay, sexism, racism played a part, sure, but it's small in the overall picture considering the context that it can't be an excuse. Let's keep the main thing, because if Biden would have done a good or great job, Kamala, would have at the very least, edged the victory despite everything else. No way she and the Democrats loses the electoral, the popular vote, the House, and the Senate. No fucking way. You telling me if Biden have gotten 2 or 3 of his major campaign policies passed, she would have lost? That bad? They were saying people had Trump amnesia, meaning amnesia about the things Trump done. Well, there's also Biden amnesia, that some Democrats forgot about what Biden ran on and what he actually did, which they did not forget about, but they like to pretend to. And that's all part of the corporate political strategy of the do nothing for the people, but then come around every 4 years again and try to fear tactic us into voting for them again while ignoring they did nothing the last 4 years. Matter of fact, let me remind y'all on some of the major policies Biden campaigned on. $15 minimum wage, paid maternity leave, adding the public option to Obamacare, $10K student loan relief, George Floyd police reform, free college for the first 2 years. That's just some of the key ones that he ran on loudly and campaigned on. Now you're telling me if Biden delivered on, let's just say, 2 or 3 of those things, Kamala would have not have won? She would have major accomplishments should have been able to point out to. Pick any of the 2 or 3. Those are tangible and or substantial policies that have touched and affect at least tens of millions of Americans in a positive way. And more importantly, they're popular with most Americans. Joe Biden, you can't apply pressure and get past popular policies that most Americans agree on? Come on now. You essentially got nothing you campaigned on the last 4 years done. Then passing the baton to Kamala, who is your vice president, and you think we are going to rock with her? You think the American people are going to be sold on that? Your credit is fucked up at that point. You can't co-sign for shit right now. Like, how did they think that would translate well? You did nothing, and then you pair that with her not strongly separating from you. Huh? But let's back up some, because I really want to highlight this part about Biden amnesia that most of the people on the left are not highlighting right now. I definitely don't expect mainstream media to, but the independent media people on the left, like your Young Turks, David Pakman, Kyle Kalinske, Destiny, The Majority Report, and more. And this is not a call out. Don't take this as a diss, because I like them all and I think they all do a good job overall. But why are they not calling out people and reminding people of Joe Manchin and Christian Cinema right now in this moment? Like, let's not forget about them and allow them to ride off to the sunset, because that's how we get back into this same situation. Because I remember during the early parts of Biden's presidency, many people were claiming that Joe Manchin was the president and signaling how much influence he had, basically guiding the direction Biden was going on economic policies.
You know, we need you to be the superhero that saves democracy. Somebody has to push back on Joe Manchin. That guy is stopping progress. He's ruining democracy. Are you willing to be that superhero? Because what scares me is if voting rights don't pass, or the Build Back Better plan doesn't pass, or police reform doesn't pass, I doubt you're going to get black people to go out there and vote in 2022 and 2024. And, you know, Trump will be president again. What's the plan for all of that? Who's the superhero that's going to speak against Joe Manchin? No. I want to know who's the real president of this country. Is it Joe Biden or Joe Manchin?
And also, I remember Jeff Bezos, his clown ass, bigging up Joe Manchin, saying something like, implying Joe Manchin was saving Biden's presidency or something. But the same Jeff Bezos stopped the Washington Post from endorsing Kamala. Now, I don't mind Jeff Bezos not endorsing Kamala or telling the Washington Post not to endorse Kamala. To me, that's fine. But what I find weird is separating yourself from a situation which in my opinion, you helped to push by promoting the Joe Manchin way of doing things as the way to go. You see how they do? No. You don't get to run from this, Jeff Bezos, or the other big corporate donors. I don't have the Biden amnesia. I remember clearly. The Joe Biden presidency was the Joe Manchin presidency, the Christian Cinema presidency, the corporate-backed, big donor way of doing things presidency, the presidency of abandoning the left economic policies that Biden campaigned and won on. Jeff Bezos and others in the big corporate class made it seem like Joe Manchin's undermining of Biden's legislative agenda was the way to go. They made it seem like Joe Manchin was saving Biden. What is Joe Manchin saving Biden from, Jeff Bezos? Saving him or Kamala to win another election? Is that what he's saving Kamala and Joe Biden from them winning another election? You thought America would love this? The Joe Manchin Christian Cinema administration? Nah. Y'all gotta own it. They campaign and win the presidency running on left policies, but allow corporations and big money donors and their pawns like Joe Manchin and Cinema to talk them out of passing those same popular policies, and instead pass so-called centrist policies that does little to nothing for the people while they're facing aggressive obstacles like inflation. And then when the Democrats lose, like Biden was going to, or like Kamala did, the corporate media and the Republicans would turn around and say, you see what the problem is? They went too far left. Huh? How? The Democrats did not go left at all. That's the problem. Economically speaking, and that was the main reason why Biden and why Kamala lost. Again, like I said, Joe Biden did not pass any of the major policies that he campaigned on and ran a Joe Manchin, Kristen Sinema, centrist corporate presidency. Own it. We got to keep on repeating that. We got to keep on letting that be the main focus. Don't let that run away. I haven't heard yet someone mention Joe Manchin. Tell me I'm lying. Don't put that shit on the left. We're not going to figure out how and why y'all lost and allow y'all to play that game. Not this time. Your way, your corporate centrist, abandon the left economic policies way was epically rejected. That so-called run to the middle, which is not the middle, but that's whatever, that's a whole nother topic. Run to the so-called middle, right? With however they want to frame it way, did nothing for them. And that should be the major takeaway. Don't let them blame voters. Don't let them blame Biden's age, racism, none of that BS. And even though Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema may be out of office, we need to put the fire on their ass too. Not violently, of course. Never violently. Because for one, that's just wrong. And two, that just sets us back. We lose the battle of ideas and credibility. But hold them accountable for basically handing the presidency to Donald Trump. Whatever business they're involved in, don't support them, boycott them. Make sure to always call them out. Because it's not just about Manchin and Sinema. It's people like them in the Democratic Party. We got to show them we see what type of game they're playing. More importantly, push harder to support and vet uncorrupted politicians. Because democracy was riding on Biden's presidency. And none of them in the Democratic Party establishment acted like it. They preached it, but they didn't act like it. Or at the very least, they would rather risk it than actually doing something for the American people that they wanted and asked for than to upset the big money donors. They know what would work. That is why they campaigned on these popular Democrat and Republican policies, but did not fight for it at all to deliver it. Because it would cost their beloved corporate donors who enjoyed record profits during Biden's whole presidency a little less profits. Instead, they didn't discuss some of these policies that they ran on at all, or they used a weak excuse like the parliamentarian as a reason why they couldn't pass certain popular legislation. Then they try to gaslight us and play in our faces and expect us to vote for them the next time around. Stop it. The Biden administration will go down as one of the worst presidencies in modern history. And that's why Kamala got the voter turnout she did. There was nothing she really could do at that point. Blame Biden and the Democratic establishment who keep allowing themselves to be crash dummies for their big corporate donors.